Hello everybody, this is going to be a short video assignment for just the snare drums, and what we're going to be doing in this video is kind of going over just the general breakdown for traditional grip, making sure that you have some exercises you can use to build the right muscles and feel like it's isolated in the right spot, and then we'll do a little assignment at the very end so that we can kind of put it all into practice. So very first thing with traditional grip is you want to start with your left hand held out. You're going to shake someone's hand. Just like bass drum, the ideal angle is parallel or a tiny bit below. You can ignore my dog in the background, he's having a great time. So with your forearm kind of placed a little bit under parallel, right, about to shake someone's hand, first thing you want to identify is that webbing in between your thumb and your index finger, and you can throw your stick in there about a third of the way up. Cool, this is going to be your normal set position, and this is what we're going to call our fulcrum. This is very similar to what we have in the right hand when we pinch together with our thumb and our index finger. Right, this is going to be our main point of control for traditional grip, and this is where we should be feeling things 80% of the time when we're playing, unless we're playing something super fast or it requires something special. So once you have this, something that you can start doing is just applying a little bit of pinch in the very back of the thumb. One thing you don't want to do is let your thumb slide too far forwards, because then it's going to start to cause the stick to dig into the pad. Right, so what we want to do is create just enough pressure back here to maintain a parallel set position, and we want to maintain this pressure all the time. Does not mean that you have to squeeze, or push really hard. You just have to give it enough to where you feel like you can balance it and control it. So from here you can start rotating your wrist, and when we say wrist rotation, it's your whole forearm spinning. So something you should be able to see visibly is when you have a full rotation, is that muscle on the back of your forearm pop out, and it'll feel like you're building a lot of flexibility. So you can actually practice this without a stick in your hand, and if you just put your palm straight up to the sky and try to drive your thumb all the way back, right, you're twisting your whole forearm all the way up to the elbow. This is helping you build some good muscle for what you're going to need to be doing in trad. So once we can do that, right, we can flex upwards with our forearm, and that's going to be our full vertical wrist rotation. Well, it's not going to be easy to get up to vertical at first, but as you do it more and more, you'll get the flexibility. What we want to do is just play eighth notes and make sure that we can control an even rebound with that constant little bit of pressure in our fulcrum, and see that full forearm flip essentially as high as we can go. We want to try to treat this as a flexibility exercise and a muscle building exercise. So you can just start playing eighth notes on repeat. And a couple things you can see is my whole hand is spinning, right? This is not just my thumb working by itself. My pinky is moving just as much as my thumb is. And I've also got no other fingers on the stick, right? So we're just kind of treating this like a seesaw and letting the stick bounce back up. It will not be as easy as that for you when you're first starting. It'll feel really uncomfortable at first. You'll have some trouble holding the stick consistently in that same pocket, but that's what we want the end goal to look like, where we just have a pure rotation of the hand flipping, right? And then that one point of control where we can always just keep the stick balanced and moving in the direction that it needs to. And if you do this right, you should be able to start close to parallel and the stick will go straight up, right? So you're not going to get a slice forwards or a slice backwards. It'll just be purely off of that seesaw that we're trying to build. Cool, from there, right, we have our thumb. You can take your bottom two fingers and curl them underneath the stick. We want them to sit right where the nail meets the skin, right? So it's going to start to push the skin away a little bit. You'll build a callus, it'll be nice, but that's just going to be something you have to go through. The key here with the bottom two fingers is we don't want them to push too hard up against the stick, right? So we're balancing the stick already with our thumb. We're just going to curl those fingers into a small C shape until they barely make connection. And then we're going to do the exact same exercise again, still focusing on that small pinch in the back of the hand, getting the wrist to turn all the way back, all the way up to the elbow, right? And all we want for the bottom fingers to do is to try to follow the stick, so that way they look like they're staying close to the same shape the whole time. Cool, so at a slow tempo, it'll look something like this. You can see they're staying curled. They're staying close to the stick, but they're not pushing up against the stick. They're not tight. They're actually hovering, and they're barely touching or not even touching at all. As we get faster and faster, it's the same thing. What we want to do is just get the bottom fingers used to moving all the way with the hand the entire time, and just like staying as light as possible underneath the stick. Next step is to take your middle finger and just lightly touch it up against the stick to where like the top of the middle, or the tip of the middle finger is getting close to the top of the stick. We don't want to create too many weird gaps in between these two fingers, so I usually just try to straighten it out a little bit. Again, we can do the same exercise, right? Just playing eighth notes and trying to get the middle finger to follow without adding too much extra pressure. You can see now only my index finger is sticking out. My middle finger is continuing to move with the stick. Same as my bottom two fingers. None of these three fingers we've added are actually doing anything yet, right? They're just hovering and they're just moving with the whole hand shape as we flip it back and forth. So what should make this easy is that you have two things you really have to worry about. The pinch from the back of your thumb and index finger, and it's a very small one, and then getting a full rotation from the forearm for every single note. If you can do that with an open hand, you can also do that with a curled hand, right? And that's essentially just what we're looking for in traditional grip, is being able to get a full hand flip without tensing up your fingers. So now we're back to our position. We've got our bottom two fingers on. We've got our middle finger on, right? Your last step is to connect the tip of your index finger to the top of the stick and then find a comfortable place for your thumb to connect, usually closer to the first digit of your index finger, behind that very, very first bending point or that very first knuckle. Sometimes this can slide backwards a little bit. Sometimes this can slide forwards a little bit. It's all dependent on where you're trying to apply pressure. If you're trying to bounce more, usually the stick or the thumb slides back a little bit. If you're trying to pressurize and play a lot of notes back to back, usually that thumb slides forwards a little bit. But right behind that first knuckle of the index finger is a good spot. And then from here, we're doing the same exercise. None of these fingers really matter yet. The one you're gonna feel the most out of the four that we added is your index finger. And we're gonna continue to isolate the same 2 points. That webbing in the back of the thumb and index finger, and then your whole forearm flip every single time. So again, we're doing the same thing, just playing eighth notes. Bottom two fingers hover. Your index finger feels like it's on the stick the whole time, but relaxed. Your middle finger also hovers. Doesn't really do much, it just follows the shape of the hand. Cool. So what we're going to do for the assignment is we're going to do 4 bars in all of those different positions that we've done so far. So we're going to start with 4 bars where we just have the webbing of the thumb and the index finger. Boo, wait a second. Starting with just this position, right, we're going to play 4 bars of eighth notes. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you don't have to worry about that last note too much. If the stick doesn't stop, that's because your hand is completely open. Next, we're going to add those bottom 2 fingers, and we're doing the exact same thing, 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. Cool. Next, we're going to add that middle finger on the stick and let it connect. And try to keep this gap rather close, but again, we're just trying to keep all 3 of these fingers relaxed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then lastly, index finger on the stick, thumb touching. Cool. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. Awesome. So after you do each of those, right, you only have to do 1 set of 4 bars for each of those different positions. Once those are complete, what I want to do is do 4 bars with the hand open. So we're starting in this position, and during the last bar, during the last 4 counts, I want you to close your fingers down into normal traditional grip, and your goal is to try to make the sound as consistent as possible. So if I gave you an example, you'd have 4 bars, where on bar 4, your hand goes from this position to this position without you losing focus of that pinching point in the back and your full forearm rotation. So we start open, we have 3 bars open, and then 1 bar of close at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, close, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now we have another 4 bars where we will do the first 3 of them in normal traditional grip, and then that 4th bar we will open back up into this position, right? And again, we're trying to make sure the sound doesn't change. So if we start in traditional grip and do the 4 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, open, 2, 3, 4, 1. And now we're back up and ready to go. So we're going to repeat that twice. So it's going to be 4 bars starting open and then getting closed. And then a set of 4 bars where we start closed and get open. You repeat that. So we have our 3rd set, which starts open, gets closed, and then our 4th set, which starts closed and gets open at the very, very end, and you can release your last note up. Cool, so I'll give you one example all the way through. We're starting open, On every fourth bar, we are going to change position, and we get 4 sets total. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. Close. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. Open. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. Close. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. Open. 2, 3, 4. And release. Cool. If you can do that and you can maintain a really consistent sound, you feel like you build a little bit of strength in that webbing between the thumb and the index finger, you feel like you're getting a whole flip from the forearm, and you can keep that consistency all the way through each of those exercises, you can definitely play traditional grip. Cool, so start with that breakdown. That's going to be our first assignment. I'll post this in a text format as well so you know exactly what to expect and exactly what tempos to play and what to turn in. But reference this video if at any point you need another breakdown step by step of what you should be looking for as you try to get your forearm flip. Cool, have a good night.